Good evening, traders. Welcome to the weekly Ichimoku wrap from CloudChartist. It is, let's see, December 6th. This video is regarding the weekly candles ending last week, the week of December 4th, 2015. So we're starting off with the ES. We see that the ES put in a very long candle. I will zoom in a little closer for you. So the prior week, we found that ES did come down and test the cloud and bounced and closed pretty near the highs, but I mentioned that this could be a potential reversal candle. And indeed, we got an outside candle last week. So not really a reversal, but we did see some significant selling deep into the cloud. In fact, after that really sharp down move, I was wondering whether we might come all the way down to the 2023.75 Tenkan-sen level. But instead, we reversed and retraced most of the down move. We did close the candle body below the candle body of last week, so keep that in mind. As far as this chart is concerned, it is bullish in all ways Ichimoku. Except for one fact, we see the Chikou is stuck under the candle right here. The Chikou needs to get above the candles in order to go significantly higher. So that could be a reason that we did get this topping tail. It's just a prior resistance area in this zone. So if we look at the shape of the cloud, we notice that it is very thick, so very supportive, and rising into Christmas, really. But then the last week of the year, it drops off slightly and then continues to drop off throughout January, but just slightly. But I just want you to take note of that. And then we get a little rise going into the beginning of February, and then a big cliff dive in the third week of February. So I'll be showing you this over and over again in the weeks to come, but it's important to take note of this. Oftentimes, when there is this configuration in the cloud, price action follows the cloud. There are exceptions also, though. Oftentimes, if there is this kind of cliff drop-off in a cloud and the Tenkan-sen is continuing to support price, sometimes price can ride the Tenkan-sen across a dip like this easily, as long as it remains above the Tenkan-sen support. Tenkan-sen can often make like a bridge across these types of areas. But so as far as what we're looking for next week, I would expect that we would, if we do trade lower, I would expect that there's a good potential we would find support at the 2072 area, which is the top of the cloud. So keep that level in mind if we do sell off and you're looking to buy a dip. If we do make it into the cloud, then it's hard to say how far we'll sell off. We could sell as far as the Tenkan-sen, which could be actually higher when the new candle opens. It might be up around 2040, reflecting this upward price momentum from last week. But we'll see. It could also, just make a slight flattening motion also. So, and if we do go higher, we have some obvious resistance levels. The 2100 level is obviously important. And if we get above the 2100 level, we will probably get up into the highs and maybe make a new high, in my opinion. Let's look at crude. Crude, bearish, under the cloud, unable to get above the Tenkan-sen, so it is still bearish in all ways Ichimoku. It is trying to sort of hold this 40 area for what it's worth. So we'll see what happens. If we do get some buying, I would look to sell the weekly Tenkan-sen wherever that is. It will be lower next week to reflect this downside price momentum. I wouldn't be surprised to see it at around the 43-45 area. So wherever the Tenkan-sen is, if we do get a bounce, I would potentially look to sell that area for a retrace lower. If we do make it over the Tenkan-sen, then we can expect that price could be attracted up towards the Kijun-sen, which is currently at 49.79. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq made a new high last week, very bullish. Nice hammer candle, closed slightly below the highs, but nice bull flag here. Once again, if we do get selling, I would look for the Tenkan-sen to act as support and be a potential buy zone. Here's a good example of the Chikou being free of the candles. It broke through the candles here this week in April, and it didn't happen in April. I'm just showing you the April candle, so you understand that the Chikou is representing price action time shifted 26 weeks in the past. So if you counted, there'd be 26 candles between the current candle and where the Chikou is. All right, let's look at the Russell. The Russell, in contrast to the ES and the Nasdaq, is neutral in Ichimoku terms as it's inside the cloud. And we see that the Russell did make a higher high and a lower low, so an outside candle. And interestingly, sold and closed right above the Kijun-sen here. So that is 2 weekly closes above the Kijun-sen. I would suggest that the Russell is looking for a move higher. What will keep the Russell from going too much higher are a couple things. One thing is it's going to find resistance at the Kijun-sen up here at the 1202.50 level, which is where it found resistance before. You can see it where it got rejected from the Kijun-sen. That could happen again. But if we do move higher over that, then we will have resistance at the top of the cloud here, which is at 1222 or thereabouts. So keep those in mind. Let's look at the Dow. Dow is bullish. I put in a close over the cloud after selling into the neutral cloud. It's another, let's see, that's the 3rd week in a row that it's closed above the cloud. So bullish, has the same problem that the ES has. The Chikou is stuck under the candle here. So that would need to break over, say over 18, well, really over 17,968 Tenkan-sen level to start with, and then potentially need to break over these top tails in order for the Chikou to have room to go, and therefore current price action to have room to go. If we do find sellers, look for the cloud to support, and then the cloud is actually slightly higher this week, so we could open inside the cloud if we open flat. And if we are inside the cloud, then we could come down and test the Tenkan-sen, and wherever the Tenkan-sen will open up, I would expect it to open up significantly higher than where it is at the moment. Let's look at some Treasury bonds. Treasury bonds were trading quite erratically last week, very news driven. They sold off significantly on the Draghi speech, and then actually were bought up on Friday when we saw a lot of upside in the U.S. stock markets, that bonds actually saw some nice recovery off the lows. In fact, let's look at the daily real quick. So Thursday, we sold off significantly on the Draghi speech and then put in a significant bounce, but look at the daily, we stopped right at that Tenkan-sen. So the 30-year Treasury bond looks like a sell on the daily time frame to me, as it was unable to close above the Tenkan-sen. Let's go back to the weekly, since this is the weekly Ichimoku wrap. So looking at the weekly, we see a long-legged doji and a close underneath the Kijun-sen. So neutral inside the cloud, outside candle, so the trend is still down technically. So if we do see buyers come in, look at that Kijun-sen level, which is currently at 154.14. And if we see sellers, look at the bottom of the cloud to offer support down at 150.16. It will be very interesting to see what happens with the Treasury bonds this week. Whether or not they trade risk on or risk off will be the question. We also see the Chikou is finding support right here at the Kijun-sen, which may be why we were able to get bought back up to this level. So if we do continue to hold support at the Kijun-sen, we could move higher, or if we lose the Kijun-sen, we could move lower. So keep an eye on the weekly Kijun-sen on ZB for next week. Let's look at the 10-year. ZN is bearish under the cloud, and an outside candle day once again, so downtrend still intact. We closed at, we were rejected by the prior open of the last week's candle and closed below last week's candle close. The Chikou is underneath the cloud, so no support for the Chikou. So bearish, and if we do trade lower, I would expect it's possible that we could test this 125.020 level. If we move higher, look for the Kijun-sen to offer support, and that's way up here at approximately 127.075 thereabouts. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said offer support. I should have said offer resistance for at the Kijun-sen there on ZN. Let's see. Let's look at some grain charts because they have been quite interesting lately. This is corn on the weekly. We see that corn put in a very bullish candle and actually managed to get into the cloud and break over the Tenkan-sen and is now in neutral territory as opposed to bearish where it has been. If we do trade higher, we can see potential for resistance at the top of the cloud at 381.71. And if we do trade lower, we can look for support at the Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 377.88. Let's look at the daily real quick on corn as well, because I warned some folks on Twitter that we were coming into the daily cloud resistance, but we did actually break into the cloud and close inside the cloud. So that resistance was not as strong as one might have suspected. We will see if corn can manage to stay inside the cloud. Sometimes when we get a very strong bullish move up like this, it's not sustainable and we get a reversal back under the cloud. So keep an eye on that 380 level. That's going to be very important in the upcoming week. If we do trade lower, we can look for potential support at 374 or wherever the new Tenkan-sen, pardon my cat. She makes that noise when she wants food. She knocks her food dish off the counter. We do have a bit of an open body gap here too. I would expect that the Tenkan-sen will probably open up maybe around 375. Note the Chikou is over the candles and inside the cloud, so the next area of resistance for the Chikou is up here at 385.79, which is actually, significantly over the cloud. The Chikou, even if we do trade higher and break out over the cloud, the Chikou is still going to be stuck in the cloud for quite some time. You see this is a very thick cloud. So the Chikou is still going to be in neutral territory, even if current price is in bullish territory. Until, of course, the time at which we move sideways. So we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 weeks from now. Then the Chikou will be automatically out of the cloud just because of moving sideways in time. Let's look at wheat. One of my subscribers asked me about wheat last week. So wheat put in a very bullish reversal. Last week's candle got rejected by the Tenkan-sen. 2 weeks ago's candle got rejected by, I'm looking at the daily. Thursday's candle got rejected by the Tenkan-sen, and then Friday's candle closed above the Tenkan-sen. Let's go to the weekly before I get any further confusion going on here. So on the weekly, wheat did put in a bullish hammer reversal type candle. So I would expect if we do move higher on wheat that we could find potential resistance at the Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 498.50 or wherever it opens up. It's possible that it could flatten out, like go more sideways than down a little bit. which would make it even more attractive to price action. Let's look at the soybeans. Beans put in a very bullish candle last week, broke over the flat Tenkan-sen, and made it, I don't know, not quite, slightly less than halfway to the Kijun-sen. If we had closed above these tails and more, more significantly above half of the distance between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen, I would say that we could definitely be looking for a target of the Kijun-sen, which is at 944.63. We will just see. There's this open body gap here to fill, which is 916.25. Overall, though, of course, soybeans still bearish, with the small exception of being able to reclaim the Tenkan-sen. Let's look at the dollar. How about? Oh, I forgot gold and silver. I'll get to those next. The dollar had a bearish reversal off this bull flag, came down, but we're still above the Tenkan-sen. So we could come down and test the Tenkan-sen at 97.21 and find support. So we'll see if that's what's going on with the dollar, the DX contract. The Chikou will find support at this very top of, oh no, it won't, sorry, it will find support at the Tenkan-sen next, which is slightly below the Tenkan-sen, which is under current price. And I'm thinking it's kind of likely, because of this downside price action, that the Tenkan-sen will indeed go flat for next week on the open, but we shall see. Let's look at the metals. Gold put in a bullish reversal last week off the lows, off these tweezer tails at 1055.60. Traded up almost $30 off that level, and 40 bucks off the lows. It's possible that gold will continue higher. We do have this prior support area slightly above at around, let's see, 1094 thereabouts. And if we get above that 1094 level, we have this other prior resistance, a prior support level at around 1106.80 thereabouts. So we could trade up to there, or to the Tenkan-sen, which could go flat after this bullish momentum from last week, and it's currently at 1118.60. So if we do, if you do get excited about getting long gold, be very careful about that. If we get in touch with the Tenkan-sen to the upside, that could be a sell area. Let's look at some silver. Silver put in also a bullish reversal off the lows, and put in a slight topping tail because it ran into this prior support area, which obviously has now turned into resistance. So this 1454 level is very important for silver, obviously. If we do manage to go, and I hope you can see that by how I'm holding the cursor here. If we do manage to go higher, we can look at the Tenkan-sen at 15 bucks, 1508. Sorry, the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen are currently confluent around that 1508 level. So if we do move higher, look for that area of resistance above. Still quite bearish on the silver weekly chart. What have I forgotten? Let's look at coffee, because I do. Coffee put in a bullish reversal last week, and in fact managed to get above the Tenkan-sen, which was kind of impressive. I saw this candle last week and thought it looked like a potential reversal candle, and we did actually reverse lower to this prior support area, and then put in a hardy bounce and closed above the Kijun-sen. So the levels you need to watch on coffee going into next week are the Kijun-sen here at 126.20, the Tenkan-sen down below at 124.60. If we do lose that Kijun-sen 126.20 level, we could be trading in a small range between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen. Overall, coffee is still bearish. And I'm going to wrap it up at that. Oh no, let's look at the Nikkei. Why not, before we go? The Nikkei is bullish above the cloud, above the Tenkan-sen, above the Kijun-sen. Tenkan-sen looks like it's coming up for a bull cross. We do have the Chikou testing underneath the Tenkan-sen, which isn't that bullish. We want that to be above the Tenkan-sen and above the candles, so that's a slight bearish divergence. And we are currently in a downtrend as we failed to make a higher high and a higher low. So if we do find more selling coming in for the Nikkei, we can look at the top of the cloud to support at 192.30 or thereabouts. And if we move higher, we can be aware of this prior resistance area at 199.58. And once we get above that level and the Chikou is back above the Tenkan-sen, then we could potentially look at this 2365 level, which is where the Chikou will come into the bottom of this candle here. It will actually also come into the very wick bottom of the candle, which is at 19,990, and you know, 19,999, 19,999 could be a potential level in play. So anyway, now I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in learning more about the way I analyze Ichimoku charts or how we trade futures in my chat room using these charts on multiple time frames, I still have my $99 a month promotion up there, so you can sign up and get that discounted rate. I haven't changed my website yet, kind of out of laziness, so I figured that I will just continue to offer that rate for the time being unless my room gets too busy, but it's really at a nice level right now. We have a lot of great sharing of information, some very skilled and extremely experienced traders in the room. We have a good time in there. Trading ES, trading CL, trading silver, gold, and complaining about the market. So anyway, have a good Sunday night, and thanks for watching my video. Take care.